Like I said, there's a lot of messages associated with Easter. I can't say, I wouldn't ask what's the most important, but what comes to mind first as the most important or the main message of Easter? You may have noticed how many different thoughts were like in the room in terms of some talking about actually Easter and the resurrection, others going back to a few days ago at the cross, Good Friday, others God's plan and setting such a plan in motion to reveal his gift, his love for us, that kind of thing. I didn't think anybody would say, the first thought that comes to mind with Easter is, I'm alive. That we tend to say he's alive. And so that's true. But because he's alive, I'm alive. So Easter, if I don't include myself in the resurrection, then I'm kind of like missing a really, really important part. If I just center myself on an atonement that took place, so now I don't have any more sin, my sin's been washed away. Well, it's a lot more than that. It's interesting. I was wondering to see if anybody would say, I'm alive as a result of today, kind of thing. But just hold on to that. We're going to be just taking 4 questions that are in 3 of the Gospels that took place on Easter Sunday morning kind of thing in 3 different Gospels. So you can go to Mark. Let's look at the first of the 4 questions at the tomb. And I want to take this in a way that it's not just historical, but thinking in terms of the tombs that we face. Things where there's a stone rolled over something that's impossible to move or whatever. Things we call dead, whatever. We face a lot of tombs, and I'm talking in a spiritual sense now. In Mark chapter 16, the first 5 verses.
Now when the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome bought spices that they might come and anoint him. Very early in the morning on the first day of the week, they came to the tomb when the sun had risen. And they said among themselves, who will roll away the stone from the door of the tomb for us? But when they looked up, they saw that the stone had been rolled away, for it was very large. And entering the tomb, they saw a young man clothed in a long white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed.
It's an interesting, if you can picture it with me. You got these gals, the 3 of them. They're on their way to the tomb to anoint a dead body. But they have a question. There's a question raised among themselves. That's basically saying, so who's going to roll away the tomb? Who's going to roll away the stone to the tomb? As they're walking towards it. That's very powerful to me. Because they're not standing there, or they're not sitting back in Jerusalem someplace. Well, no sense going to the tomb to do what we really want to do, because how are we going to move that stone? We don't even know anybody that will move this. In other words, they don't get trapped in this, how is this going to happen? I mean, they are sort of, but they're not. Because they're walking in faith. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know who's going to roll this, but I'm walking in that direction. And it's a combination. It's a walk of faith and love. And it's very challenging to me that we walk out the things. They're not walking in a fulfilled promise because they're going to anoint a dead body, it's clear. They're not like saying, oh, we're going to go there and the stone's going to be rolled away and it's going to be the 3rd day because that's what he said. They're not thinking about what he said at all. They're not thinking about the promises. They were there. They saw him. They saw him die. They saw him come off the cross. They saw him go to Joseph Arimathea's tomb. They saw the stone rolled away. They saw it all. That's history. He's a dead man. And yet they're walking towards this tomb in another kind of faith and love that says, I don't know how that stone's going to get rolled away. But that doesn't stop them from walking it out. I think of like the kinds of hopes and dreams that we have put in tombs. Because Jesus was their hope and their dream. I mean, he was Jesus. They all saw their hope and their dream, Jesus, crucified, killed, murdered, whatever words you want to use, and put in that tomb. And it kind of reminds me a bit of John chapter 11, the raising of Lazarus. That's the chapter where Jesus clearly says, I am the resurrection and the life. In John, he's got a lot of I ams. I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. I am the door. I am the good shepherd. He's got a lot of I ams. In John 11, before he raises Lazarus from the dead, he identifies himself to Mary and Martha, I am the resurrection and the life. If somebody's in John 11, would you just read verse 34?
And he said, where have you laid him?
He's asking them, where have you laid him? Where have you put your hopes and dreams? And that's a key question. I mean, if Jesus walks through the door right now, and asks any one of us, so what have you done with the hopes and dreams that I gave you? Have you declared them dead? Have you put them on a shelf somewhere? Have you buried them? Where are they? Because that's a powerful question. Where have you laid them? Which is a nice way of saying, where have you rolled the stone? You see, if you put them in a tomb, and then you roll the stone over them. So we're talking about rolling a stone away. Who will roll the stone away? Well, you're the ones that rolled the stone on top of to begin with. I didn't put that stone there. I'm the one that opens tombs. I'm not the one who rolls stones over tombs. Jesus is saying it in a very beautiful, loving way. Where have you laid them? Where have you put your hopes and dreams? And we can't help but say, yeah, but I saw it die. Come on, Jesus, really. I saw them die. And his words are, yeah, but I am the resurrection. And if I am in that hope and dream, then you putting him in a tomb, I really wished you wouldn't do that because of the impact that it has on you when you roll stones over your hopes and dreams kind of thing. But let's read a few more verses. Let's read verse 37, because this is the question that we all ask when we stand outside of a broken heart or a broken dream. Verse 37, same chapter.
And some of them said, could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying?
Isn't that the question? We stand there and we say, but surely, if he could do this, he could have done that. Now, we don't ask God that, do we? For the most part. Usually we don't pray in that way. You know, it's kind of like we talk about it. Remember, the question is among themselves. They're not asking God. They're asking among themselves, who will roll the tomb? They've got like a dialogue going, but it's in the wrong direction. It's asking for other people and their views in the past. How's this going to happen? I don't know how it's going to happen. I'm not putting them down because it's so normal, it's ridiculous. And in John 11, it's the same thing. They see him now walking towards the tomb. They see him weeping. His tears, his tears of weeping convict them of his love for the people. And I always like that. I love that message. That after all the miracles and everything is said and done, we find one spot in John where they say, surely he loved them. And that is the thing right there, the weeping in a situation at a funeral that causes the people in the situation to say, oh, how he loves us, how he loved him. A lot of power in tears. But anyway, so that's the question. Surely, couldn't this man who opened the eyes of the blind, couldn't he do this? Again, they're not asking him. They're not asking God. They're asking each other. Couldn't he do this? Couldn't he do that? Who will roll away the tomb? All the questions in their own little sphere. Let's continue on and just finish up John 11, 38, 39, and 40.
Then Jesus, again groaning in himself, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone laid against it. Jesus said, take away the stone. Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him, Lord, by this time there is a stench, for he has been dead for 4 days.
So did you picture this? Jesus goes over and he starts rolling the tomb away, right? I hope you say no, because that's not what she just read. It was the opposite. He approaches the tomb. And who did he tell to take away the stone? He says to them, you take it away. This is part of a powerful Easter message. You take it away. I'll raise the dead. You let them out. I hope you catch what I'm saying here. Because see, he does. He tells them, who will roll the stone away? You will. You can't raise the dead. You're not the resurrection and the life. I am. I'll resurrect them. You roll tombs away. And when they come out, as the story ends, he tells them, loose him, clean him up. It's not a one-man show here. Jesus has never been a one-man show. He doesn't operate that way. He's incorporating us into, whether they're miracles, whatever they might be, he incorporates us. Wherever you rolled the stone away and you put your hopes and dreams there, he says to us, take it away. Oh, Lord, take away the stone. No, you take it away. Why don't you count on me to do something that you can't do? You can't raise the dead. You can't bring life into that. I can. But I'll tell you what. You roll the stone away. Have a go at it. I'm not trying to confuse you or anything like that. What I'm trying to say is this. They're on their way to a tomb saying, who will roll it away? They're already walking in faith and love. And that's what will roll that stone away. They don't have to worry about who will roll the stone away. Jesus said, if you can believe, you will see the glory of God. That's what he said. If you can believe, if you can walk it out in faith, if you can walk it out in love, if you can do that, if you can believe, then you shall see the glory of God. And what's interesting is you shall see the glory of God. Did anybody see the glory of God? Oh, look, I don't see the glory of God. Where's the glory of God? The glory of God, you're watching this corpse come out of a tomb who stinks and smells, and he's wrapped up in everything the world wrapped him up in. A hope and a dream, it's dead. Ba-boom. Close it up. Let's move on. No. It doesn't work that way. The resurrection message is the exact opposite. The thing is this. The people that are standing outside the tomb, which is where every single one of us is, the people who are standing outside the tomb, when the stone is rolled away, he tells them, I'm expecting you to clean this guy up. Because the question is, do you remember when you were in a tomb? You remember when you were dead? Do you remember the people that have spoken into your life and have cleaned you up and helped get the grave clothes off? They've been there, haven't they? And now we stand outside the tomb at any given moment. As soon as he says roll that stone away, we roll it away. We clean up that corpse. Who will roll away the stone? You will. It's a great picture. It's a great question. And it's something that I'm challenged with in my life. Recognizing the places that, the things that Jesus does, the places I'm supposed to be and what I'm doing. That's the Father-Son business. And I don't want to put down anybody who prays. I've prayed that before, roll the stone away. Not quite, where'd you get it from? But I'm wrapped in, I've often wondered how funny that must have looked. Because they were wrapped from feet to head, like a mummy kind of thing. And to watch this guy trying to get out of the tomb. It wasn't like the grave clothes fell off, because he tells them to take them off. It'd be kind of nice when you see a baby Christian first coming to life, and you're watching them struggle to get out of the tomb, and they're hopping around. It looks funny. I don't think they care what they look like anymore, quite frankly.